Okay, so hello and welcome to Players Den. We will meet athletes and listen to their lives and stories. तो आज हमारे साथ सना महमूद हैं और सना is not just any athlete. She has been the captain for the basketball and football teams. As captain of her football team, she led her team to several victories. I believe it was three or four. But wait, we'll hear all of that from Sana. And she's saying five. Okay, that was awesome. So Sana, over to you. Um, so how are you, Sana? And thank you for taking the time out for us today.
Hi Noor, I'm very well, thank you. It's a nice, lovely Saturday morning, and I'm enjoying the sun and trying to make the best of this period that we've all got going through. But thank you for reaching out to me, and thanks for the work that Strawberry Sports does, especially to promote and highlight women in sports across non-mainstream games.
Let's talk about your football and basketball career first. So, what came first, basketball or football?
This is a question I get so many times. So I want to explain to people how it worked. I was lucky enough to go to a school where they had a large ground and they had somewhat sports facilities, and they also emphasized on sports uh, throughout the year periodically, if not as much as they do now. And so we would have an annual sports day, and we would always have a football team, even when I was as young as fourth, fifth grade. And so I've been kicking around a ball for a long time. And then when I was in sixth grade, I remember my school constructed a new basketball court, and it was like a thing. Wow, this is amazing. It's a huge court, and it had the right dimensions, two hoops. And so I bought a basketball and I started playing. So everything from football and basketball started at school, and that was because I had such a great environment. I just had the chance to take up football professionally or at club level earlier than I had, well, around the same time as I had basketball. So it depends on which one succeeded in Pakistan. So football was very important at the time, and there was a lot of budget put in, and people were promoting the game. So coincidentally, I got a chance to make it to the national level earlier. But I've been playing with clubs or semi-professionally since 2007, both sports, and both came around the same time. It's just that football excelled faster. Football's national team was formed faster, and there was less politics, so to speak, at the time. Basketball soon followed closely after, but it took it a while, which is why I was captain of the football team first, and then after that, basketball. But I always say basketball is close to my heart. It's a game that came naturally to me, and I was and it was my space to go to by myself. So that's why I really enjoyed it. But like I said, both games I thoroughly enjoyed.
Achha, so that also answers my next question, actually, which was supposed to be that we don't really play basketball in Pakistan, and how did you discover it? So that's got covered now.
Yeah.
So, Achha, next up, so you've been how long have you been a sports person really? And how old were you when you started playing football?
When I started playing, like I said, for a club, properly both sports, around 17, which is like ancient in sports years. But I've been playing in school since, I don't know, fifth, fourth grade.
Huh. So yeah, so even then, I mean, you would have qualified as a sports person. So how did your sports career make a difference to your life? Matlab, how is Sana a better person today just because she got into sports?
Oh, Sana is everything because she got into sports. I always tell people that, and I strongly believe in it because uh, sports, especially in Pakistan, it's such an interesting field, and it's so different. And Pakistan is so diverse. So if you get a chance to play sport, it's not like what they show in the movies, in Western movies, where there are these. Famous jocks that everybody loves, and people come to watch their games, and they're very popular, and you get money and you get scholarships, and that's not what it is. It's not as glamorous here in Pakistan. Not high school, not college, not varsity sport. It's not that glamorous here. It's literally just us playing for ourselves, zero incentives, barely their salaries, 5 people in the stands, including your mom, dad, your sister, brother, and one extra friend, and nobody else comes to watch. But we keep doing it, and so it's not as glamorous. And I think uh, that's that's what I learned from Pakistan in sport, because I got to interact with girls from Punjab, from KPK, from Balochistan. We live in camps together. We interact with the men from the sports background, and it's taught me a lot, and it's opened my bubble up, worldview up, and I had exposure to all of these different people at a very young age, which is why I feel like I'm a more I can empathize with people from different backgrounds, and that's something that I realized when I had friends who went into colleges or universities, even my own sister, and they were shocked when they had to meet lots of different people. So I think sports really did that for me, give me a chance to see all of Pakistan in a true light. And with that, हमने रगड़ा भी बहुत खाया. We've seen tough times, things that I think other people haven't seen. Economy train from Islamabad to Karachi, the terrible food we eat sometimes at the mess, horrible training conditions and sleeping conditions. So all of that is a real experience that makes you who you are. It makes you tough, it makes you disciplined, it makes you more tolerant, and I'm very grateful for that.
As a bonus question, it wasn't in my list actually. So you mentioned that you've met like a lot of people from all over Pakistan because of playing basketball or football. So what's one story that would stay with you forever? Like not yours, kisi aur ki, which you would probably remember forever. Something maybe could be funny, could be inspirational, could be anything really.
Oh man, there are so many. There are so many stories, because that's what would happen. We would live at camp for 2-3 months straight, and we were each other's family, and we would be training morning and night, twice a day. And so after a certain time, we had curfew and we couldn't leave the hostel. So all we did was either sit together and chat, play games, or play pranks on each other. So we did that a lot, and there's a bunch of pranks. So one time I remember we tried to make an obstacle course with our bodies in the football house. And so
That
there
sounds
was there was a
interesting.
there was a player who was supposed to lie down, and then there was a player who was supposed to be on all fours, and then there was a player who was standing with their legs wide open, and the contestant had to go over the obstacle course. And we do things like that all the time. And if you had M&Ms, or even we would get oranges as part of our diet, so we would peel the orange and then we would play catch with the oranges. So we've done a thousand things that just to entertain ourselves, which is why this lockdown doesn't feel like that to me, because we'd be locked down at 8 p.m. in the hostel all the time, and we would do these things to entertain
So
ourselves.
you face it. ठीक है,
Yeah.
ठीक है, okay. अच्छा, so your degree, मतलब जो आपकी master's की degree है, and the work that you do, they're both related to sport. So how do you feel your degree and your education and your work have helped you grow as a sports person and as a human being?
Tremendously, actually, and I'm really glad that I stuck by it. Because when I was an undergraduate in Islamabad, doing my undergraduate studies, I wanted to do research, and I did end up doing my undergraduate thesis on the impact of sports on the self-esteem of sportswomen in Pakistan. And I conducted a bunch of interviews with a lot of athletes here, and I found there to be value in sport and how to discover how sport could be used, and what's really the true meaning for it, especially in women's lives. But I found a lot of resistance from my institution and a lot of teachers there who thought it wasn't academic enough, or it didn't make sense. But eventually, I was able to convince a few people, and that's how I did it. The chance of pursuing this in my studies was further, I guess, improved or increased when I moved to the States. There was a very supportive environment for research, of multidisciplinary research, and I learned more. My own belief in sport was further strengthened, and also the things that I believed, I thought that somebody was writing them down in theory. And so it was further legitimized by reading other people's thoughts of the same thing. And when I came back, I already had this in mind, that I would like to work for an organization that is doing sport in some way. and I'm lucky now to be working for Right to Play. It's a global non-profit organization that's been working for the well-being of disadvantaged youth around the world by teaching them valuable life skills through sports and play-based activities. So very lucky to be in this role, and I definitely think that my academic training has helped, like I said, legitimize my thoughts, but also give them some structure. And I'm very lucky to be able to work in something that I have a passion for.
We'll just change the tone a little bit, and I'll ask you about who your biggest support has been throughout your supporting career, and how have they supported you throughout your life as a sports person.
Ooh, definitely, I'll have to say my parents, because they have always been the ones from a very young age. You know, at the time I didn't have my own money, or I didn't have my own car, I didn't even know how to drive. And when I would hear about these things, trials happening, matches here, coach says show up here, it was my parents who drove me everywhere. And then when I would get hurt, it was my parents who would be driving me to the hospital, even at home, like doing my icing and bandaging my injuries. All of that was my parents. And there were even times when I remember we lost the national championship, and I came home and I was so upset. I started crying, and my parents were like, if it's gonna upset you that much, they were so worried, like, and they've always been so supportive that instead of saying, oh, this is so stupid, why are you crying, they always got it, they always understood, and they always motivated me to do better. There was a penalty that I missed once, and we lost, along with another few penalties that my teammates missed. And I remember my mother going up to my coach and saying, you know what, coach, if she's not good enough to take that penalty, she shouldn't be taking that penalty, okay? So just because she's the captain, don't do her any favors and choose your best kids. And the coach always quotes that example as my mom being the one who, instead of saying, hey, put my kid in, she was the one who's saying, listen, even if she's captain, but if she doesn't do well, make her sit out. And I think they've played a really supportive role and a very honest role in my life. And my dad likes to say, what we did is we never said no. So all the things that she did or she came up to us with, we were very understanding and very supportive. And I think I'm very lucky to have that, because it basically starts in your home. And if you have a supportive home, you're able to fight whatever society throws at you.
Acha, so you're a sportswoman who's from Pakistan, and हमारे तो थोड़े थोड़े बहुत ऐसी खवातीन हैं जो who are just now beginning to make some waves, right? Acha, and even speaking like globally, women's sport is it's an area that's like gaining media attention rapidly. Like, and it's still not like, they're up there with the men's sport with all those issues. So what are your views as a sports person, as a sportswoman from Pakistan? How does that make you feel, and what do you feel the problems are, and how, in your opinion, how can we fix?
Oh, I feel furious about it, because, there's so many things wrong with how you portray female athletes, or if you even portray female athletes at all. The way we cover sports in the media, the importance that sport is given, the general perception of sport, as I told you, in Pakistan is it's not very glamorous, and the people who are in sport are also, yaar inse padhai nahi hui to shayad ye game khel rahe hain, ye wala concept hai. And thinking कि शायद game खेलना बहुत आसान काम है. You know what it entails. Even if a guy didn't pursue all his studies, or a girl didn't pursue all his studies, and she dropped out and she's just playing sports, do you know what her life looks like? It's very hard. It's very difficult, because A, she chose that as a career and she's getting barely enough money for it. And B, the physical and emotional work that she has to do for it. So all of that is not captured. But at the end of the day, pehli baar team bhai ja rahi and they lose something, and all of a sudden it'll be like, पाकिस्तान की कौमी टीम फिर से नाकाम रही, इतने मैचेस हार गई, इतने गोल्स खा लिए, ऐसे हो गया, वो हो गया. So, it's just an unfair way of portraying things. Give us context first. Tell us ये पाकिस्तान की पहली टीम थी, पहली बार जिंदगी में ये टीम बाहर गई है, 2 मैचेस जीत के आई है, 1 मैच हार के आई है, ये इनका कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, ये इनकी मेहनत थी, 3 माह से इन्होंने ये किया है, और ये फैसिलिटीज थी. So if you never, for instance, one of my swimmer friends, she's a national athlete, she always gets this, swimming तो कुछ ये नहीं करता. आप कितनी लड़कियां आपने देखी हैं स्विमिंग करते हुए इस पाकिस्तान में? कौन से पब्लिक पूल्स हैं जिधर स्विमर स्विमर तैयार हो रहा है, इवन कौन से बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट्स हैं जिधर ढेर सारी लड़कियां खेल रही हैं. देखिए जब सारी दुनिया खेलेगी या सारा मुल्क खेलेगा तो उसमें से आप टैलेंट निकालेंगे. So I think media has a very mainstream media has a very critical view of sports in general and female sports as well. I was once talking to Naseem Hameed, the fastest once upon a time woman in South Asia, and she broke records and she won medals and she came from South Asia, very lauded by her community. But वो कहती है कि मैं पहले से ही ये खेल कर रही थी, मैं नेशनल टूर्नामेंट्स जीत रही थी, मेरा रिकॉर्ड टाइम था ये. I was beating everybody in Pakistan. But nobody gave me too much importance. हम नेशनल चैंपियनशिप में ये सारे मार के मारी थी. मैं जब बाहर जाके मैंने ये किया तो एकदम से लोगों को मेरा ख्याल आ गया, now on a billboard. And her point was a woman has to do something extraordinary, a woman athlete, to get attention, whereas a male athlete just has to be a male athlete to get some sort of importance. So I can somehow agree with her as well, and I'm very, it's very unfortunate कि cricket को बहुत importance मिलती है, उसी तरह पे female cricket को अब मिलना शुरू हो गई है. But the rest of the sports are largely marginalized, and people don't even know कि हमारे पास judo की team है, wushu की team है, कराटे है, क्या क्या हम करते हैं, क्या नहीं करते, बैडमिंटन कौन खेल रहा है, वॉलीबॉल कैसे खेल रहे हैं. So archery or shooting, people don't even know we have teams for these. So this is my issue, and I think that a lot of awareness needs to be done around this, and the media needs to play a more positive and better role.
Yeah, I'll just tell you a little story over here. I was just doing some research about women athletes in general, not just Pakistan. So YouTube, where I went and tried to like find some good videos, and you wouldn't believe the trash that was present. Like I wrote women athletes, या इस तरह की कोई चीज लिखी, और जो search results आ रहे हैं, they're not about talent, they're not about skills, they're about the most beautiful
Oh yes.
sportswomen. So there is
Yes.
that as well. It's just kind of like,
Another
ये क्या है?
the demand, people don't want to look at the actual face of a woman athlete. They want to look at what's acceptable. थोड़ी सी खूबसूरत भी हो यार, टीवी पे भी अच्छी लग जाए, ऐसे नहीं होता. You know, that's not what. And then even when I was with the football team, I remember there was a time when we daily had these articles, the top 5 most gorgeous girls on the national football team, and it was very offensive because this is not what they're here for, and keep your stupid ranking to yourself. तो वो attraction भी एक चीज है कि this is a global problem. This is a global problem. If you see a WNBA women's national basketball player taking or giving an interview, she'll be full of makeup. It'll look unnatural on her. लेकिन वो आपको ऐसे बिठा देते हैं कि तुम अपनी feminine side इधर दिखाओ ज़्यादा. So I've had to go on TV with a lot and insist on makeup, and I always tell them, listen, don't make me something I'm not. It's unfair. थोड़ा सा आपने जो भी touch up करना है आप कर दें, लेकिन don't do that. So I think it's very unfortunate, and it's a global problem.
Asha, so other than sport, or could be sport actually, what are some of the issues or topics that you care about and you speak for, or you want to speak for?
Oh, I care for, as a woman and as an athlete, I care for women's rights and women's rights in the public space specifically. Women's rights to ensure that they can have a productive life given all of their biological needs. So I'm a strong proponent of that, and I call myself a feminist as well, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the word like the society seems to think. All it means is that कि मुझे इस मुल्क में रहते हुए ये महसूस होता है कि I'm not an equal citizen of this country. And I have a small example to share which really boils my blood. But I'm a project officer at Right to Play. I manage various projects. I do a lot. I've been here for 3+ years. And one of the days that I was walking to my organization, I just parked my car. There was a driver from साथ ही हमारे जो इदारा है, he parked right next to our office, right in front of our office, and he threw a juice box outside. And all I did was pick it up, and बड़े तमीज़ से मैंने उसको कहा, अस्सलाम वालेकुम साहब, ये आप प्लीज़ इधर कचरा ना फेंकें, क्योंकि ये हमारा दफ्तर है और इस जगह को हमें साफ रखना है, ठीक है. So my office space, I have the right to say that, to this driver who also works in that space, and I've not done any, मतलब कोई बदतमीजी मैंने नहीं की, I've not been rude, I've just told him कि इसको आप कचरा फेंकिए, इधर कचरा ना डालें, which is something that I wish all of Pakistan did, because अपनी जगह को अगर आप साफ रखेंगे तो फिर सारा मुल्क साफ रहेगा, and you should call out people if they're littering your beautiful city.
Yes, yes, of course.
But instead of like his justification to me, he just looked at me with shock and then with anger first, and then his response was, तुमने मुझसे बात कैसे की, तुम्हारी औकात क्या है, तुम औरत जात अपने आप को समझती क्या हो, ये हम मुसलमान हैं, तुम मुझसे बात भी नहीं कर सकती. तो आई ट्राई टू कोट सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ इस्लाम, के इस्लाम में हाइजीन और गंद फैलाना और ये वो क्या चीज़ें हैं, आधा ईमान ही ये है आपका. बट इट वाज ऑल, ही वाज लाइक, ये लंदन नहीं है, ये हम फेंकेंगे इधर कचरा और तुम हमसे बात भी कैसे करोगे. सो इन हिज माइंड, आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू प्ले द स्टेटस कार्ड, मैं नहीं कह रही, लेकिन मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि देखो आप एक ड्राइवर हो और मैं एक मैनेजर हूँ, लेकिन फिर भी हमारे इंटरेक्शन में, क्योंकि मैं औरत हूँ, मैं यहाँ हूँ और आप यहाँ हो क्योंकि आप मर्द हो, हमारी क्वालिफिकेशंस, हमारी हार्ड वर्क, हमारा मेरिट, हमारा सब कुछ, ऑल ऑफ इट वाज स्ट्रिप्ड अवे फ्रॉम मी, एंड इट टुक अवे ऑल द राइट्स just because I was a woman, and that's unfair. That is very very unfair, and I think that ये लोगों के दिमाग में बात बैठी हुई है. Unfortunately, in this society, you are judging people not on merit, not on anything, but on, you know, their sex, their gender, and these kind of things. Yeah, their caste even, for that matter. So this really frustrates me, and every time things like this happen, I make sure to raise my voice. I make sure to advocate. हमारे programs में बच्चियाँ थीं बेचारों की, उनको फोर्सफुली फुटबॉल टीम से भी निकाल के, स्कूल से भी निकाल के, 15-15 साल की उम्रों में शादी हो रही थी. बहुत सी शादियां इस तरह, रोकने की मैं नहीं कहूँगी, बट पेरेंट्स को हमने बात करने की कोशिश की कि देखिए आपकी बच्ची 15 साल की है, आप उसकी 35 साल के आदमी से नहीं शादी करवा सकते. सो यू नो, फाइटिंग ऑल दीज केसेस सो up close and seeing all these problems up close and dealing with so many sexual harassment victims. You know, like I said, we're all women, we're all living together in hostels. So we all talk to each other and we know okay, every woman has been harassed in her life. So ये चीज़ें आपके दिल को बहुत दुखाती हैं, and you're angry and you just don't want to stay quiet anymore, and you want to shed light on these problems. So I know some people will think कि जी ये तो this angry feminist keeps talking about these things और ये इतनी होती नहीं है. ये होती हैं बिल्कुल, और ये बहुत ज़्यादा होती हैं बिल्कुल. और फ़र्क ये है कि दो किस्म के लोग होते हैं, जिनके साथ होता है और वो नहीं बोल रहे, and they're like shy, or they're like अच्छा चलो हो गया है, चलो इग्नोर किया. और वो हैं दूसरे जो जिनके साथ खुद भी होता है और वो दुनिया के लिए भी आवाज़ उठा रहे हैं, because ये हो रहा है. And it's any girl, you know, go into a room, ask a girl to raise her hand if she's ever been harassed in some way, the whole room will have their hands up. So I think that it's important to talk about these things and create dialogue around them, and I hope to use my whatever image to shed more light on this.
Acha, life in quarantine, things have changed. I mean, lifestyles have changed the way that, I mean, in the space of like, I don't know, a couple of weeks, perhaps, जो हम कर रहे थे वो बिल्कुल ही like move to the side, and now we're in a new mode of life. So let's just talk about that. So how do you stay active under house arrest?
Okay, so luckily, and I know that this doesn't apply to a lot of people, luckily I live in a place, मतलब थोड़ा सा suburban residential area है, तो smack dab in the middle of city या apartment buildings नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. तो I have the freedom or the room to at least कि मैं अपनी street में या अपने मोहल्ले में ही walk कर लेती हूँ. This is recommended also कि get some exercise, get some air. तो मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि धूप धूप में मैं बाहर जाऊँ, ठीक है, घंटे की walk हो जाती है. And then I do yoga, and then I do home strengthening exercises for my knee. I had knee surgeries recently, so rehabilitation करती हूँ. But mostly yes, walking, yoga, strengthening exercises. That's how I'm staying fit. So for me, it's been, the change has been easy relatively to adapt to, just because I'm getting that necessary 1 hour of walk outside. और वही बात है कि अगर वो नहीं हो सकता तो I really, for my mental peace, मुझे होता है कि मैं कोई greenery और nature को देख लूँ. That's very important to me. So sit by a window, read a book, but just see something else but walls. I'm a very nature kind of person. So I'm doing that, and that's keeping me physically and mentally healthy. Or I understand that it's difficult for a lot of people because people are living in congested spaces, and my heart goes out to them because it's a very difficult time.
Acha, so now it's time for some fun questions. So we have a rapid fire round for you.
Ooh, okay.
Acha, okay. So we have a few questions and you need to answer as fast as you can. So one, two, and three. So go to item for breakfast.
Oh, pancakes.
Last book you read.
Oh, Sapiens by Harari. Still reading it. Actually, almost
Okay.
done.
Okay. A person, dead or alive, who you'd like to meet.
Okay, that's too much. Let me just quickly say Sue Bird. Okay, she's one of my favorite basketball players. She's totally alive, and I really have this fangirling going on. I've been following her for years, so yeah, I'd love to meet her.
Okay, great. So the person you go to when you're in trouble.
Um, my husband. Yes.
Okay.
The only one
Uh,
who has the ability to listen to me ranting a lot.
okay, cute. Name a worthy opponent. Your worthy opponent.
Ooh, you mean like sports wise?
Yeah, sports person.
Meru Khan. We've often had this conversation with her. She is one of the best basketball players in the country. And once when we met her, it was like from the start, it was like Meru versus Sana, and we've become best friends since then. But we always find it more fun playing against each other.
So that's an inspirational story right there. Last show you binge watched.
Ooh, oh my God, you guys will totally judge me. So Rick and Morty on Netflix.
Okay, okay. So in the movie of your life, who would you want to play you?
Man, I don't have an answer to that question, but like we've thought about it. Somebody once approached me and they asked me that. I have no idea. I wish though that it would be like it would be somebody who would love to play me. That's all I can in mind.
Oh, okay, no, nobody in particular. The soundtrack of your life.
Oh, you know that song "Don't Stop Believing"?
Uh-huh.
It goes like "Don't stop believing." Right, so that's a great song, and I'm one of those थोड़ी white girl feelings आ जाती हैं because अगर वो कहीं भी लगता है, so I feel like I'll break into song and dance, and I've done that before at many public events, so I really think that that's a soundtrack of my life, yes, so to speak.
Something you aren't willing to give up, like ever.
Uh, oh man, my physical abilities is gonna be hard, yeah. Like I worry
Oh,
about not being able to do as many push-ups or as many sprints, and that's something that you'll eventually have to that will, but the forcefully be given up. That scares me.
football or basketball?
Yeah, can't answer that one. Sorry, no takers. Yeah, totally depends. I love them both for various reasons, and it totally depends on your mood. And I still most miss them both terribly in quarantine. So can't answer
Okay, so
that.
that's it. You're off the hot seat,
Good.
and you managed to see it through just fine. So we'll just put you in our Hall of Fame now. Yay!
Great, thank you. I feel like
As
this
a,
accomplishment.
so Himani underscore basketball underscore want to know how to make a team of basketball more passionate, enthusiastic about the game. Thanking in advance.
Oh man, yeah, I totally understand where he or she is coming from because ये बहुत मुश्किल होता है कि जब आप एक खुद एक individual हैं, you're really passionate about your sport, so you're going out and you're playing, but you need a team of people, right? So you collect that team and you have these people और वो आ जाते हैं खेलने, but they're not as committed to it. So
Yeah.
I think what you need to do is sometimes make it fun. Break down your practice, and if you have a team of people, sometimes just like practice the same thing over and over again gets a bit dry and you burn out. So the important thing is to keep it fun. Drop your basketball one day and just play a game. Do something else competitive, but non-basketball like. So we used to do that at camps a lot. हम थक जाते थे सुबह उठ के फजर पे यही फिर शाम को भी यही बस कर करके drills. That one day when our coach saw कि हमारे चेहरे लटके हुए हैं, he would just say, okay, no more basketball. Let's have a game of volleyball. So we would just play that, or let's play some rugby. And so you would play and you would get that physical exercise, but you weren't feeling like, oh, I need to be the best, I need to do the. So sometimes drills burn you out and you get demotivated. So what you need to do is bring something fun to it, and also it's a lot of it's a good idea to watch games together. तो अगर आपकी recording पड़ी हुई है किसी चीज़ की आप वो देखकर so you get motivated, and then if you're sitting with your friends you can talk about how you would like to do that move or how you could practice it, तो फिर थोड़े से लोग motivate होते हैं. And I think rather than that, like just giving them that experience. So if they enjoy that experience on the court, they won't need more convincing. Um, that's what I think.
Okay, so last question from the audience. It's from live bay underscore 28. And she wants to know what was your biggest hurdle when you started your journey in sports and how did you manage to handle it?
I think initially starting off, it's time management because मैंने सब कुछ करना था, मतलब मैंने पढ़ाई भी करनी थी, मैं वो नहीं थी कि ओके फॉरगेट माय पढ़ाई बंक क्लासेस और स्पोर्ट्स भी करें, मैंने दोनों चीज़ें साथ करनी थी और मेरे पेरेंट्स ने भी शुरू से यही कहा था कि बेटा इट्स अप टू यू, डू व्हाटएवर, जस्ट मेक श्योर कि आपकी पढ़ाई ना सफ़र करे. तो वो मेरे दिमाग में इतना वो बैठा हुआ था कि आई देन बिकेम it was a slight challenge in the beginning कि यार इसको कैसे किया जाए, and sometimes I also feel that I could have done far better maybe having chosen one thing. But because I wanted to balance it, and then once you're into sports, then balancing social obligations and family commitments that you're not able to, मतलब वहाँ शादी हो रही है और वहाँ सना फुटबॉल खेल रही है और फाइनल मैच के बाद भाग के गरारा पहन के शादी पे जा रही है. I've done that. So that was challenging, you know. And that expectation जो लोग समझते हैं तुम्हारी बेटी भाई क्यों खेलती रहती है या ये लड़की या लड़कों वाले काम बस छोड़ दे या बड़ी भी हो जाए. I'm 30 now and I still wear t-shirts and I dress like that, and that was a huge problem when I was 16 17, you know. कि अब कि now girls are growing into their feminine side और आपकी बेटी जो ऐसा ना वो बस वो यूं ही जा रही है अपने स्पोर्टी और एथलेटिक गियर में. तो इस तरह के चैलेंजेस लोगों से सुनना, लोगों ने अप्रिशिएट ना करना, फैमिली नहीं मतलब मेरे पेरेंट्स नहीं बट बाकी ज़रा एक्सटेंडेड लोग. So that was a bit challenging, and how to manage and how to convince people that this is truly important, and how to convince people that it really matters. That is also a wo क्योंकि I've had a lot of cynical questions like अच्छा जी लड़कियां स्पोर्ट्स क्यों, आपका क्या है, क्यों आप खेलती हैं. तो
आपने
ये
क्या कर
छोटे
लिया है?
छोटे एग्जैक्टली तो ये चैलेंजेस थे. लेकिन मेरा ख्याल है कि उसको मैंने इतनी अच्छी तरह एटलीस्ट टाइम मैनेजमेंट को इतनी अच्छी तरह मैनेज किया कि वो आदत मेरे साथ आज तक है. इट हेल्प मी इन माई ग्रेड स्टडीज एज वेल. ग्रेजुएट स्टडीज़ का यही होता है कि आप इट्स नॉट दैट हार्ड, यू हैव टू जस्ट मैनेज योर टाइम रियली वेल. असाइनमेंट्स बहुत हैं, रीडिंग्स बहुत हैं, ये करना है. और आज तक मैं फील करती हूँ कि आई एम एबल टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स because I've learned the discipline from sports to manage my time well. And now I think I also have evidence and valuable contribution to society to shut up all these people who were critics in the beginning.
So that was it, Sana. Thank you very much for your time. And not sure about you, but it was very insightful for me. And I'm sure that our audience would love to hear from you again sometime as well.
Okay,
So
great. Thank
any
you. Thank
parting
you so
thoughts?
much for having me. Yeah.